What's up folks, how's it going? This is Waj. Hope you guys are all doing well, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the LG 27UD88W. Now that basically means that this is a 4K ultra high definition IPS monitor that is going to be great for both gamers and professionals. Now what makes this monitor kind of special is that it has USB Type-C connectivity, which theoretically could mean that if you have a laptop or a device that has that built in, you can charge, transfer data, and display video at the same time. Now, even though all that sounds pretty promising, there's still a couple of different obstacles that somebody's going to have to go through before fully utilizing the potential capabilities of USB Type-C, which we'll talk about in more depth later on. But the first thing that we're going to go through is the overall design and look of the 27UD88W. As you can see, it looks really great, very similar to a lot of different LG monitors currently available. The bezels are relatively thin, measuring only about 3/8 of an inch, and they have a non-glossy finish, which is always a plus. The back of the monitor is covered in this white plastic, which definitely contrasts nicely with the black finish at the front of the display. Looking at the built-in stand, you can see that the nice curved overall design provides adequate stability, and when it comes to adjustability, you have about 23 degrees of a tilt action, as well as you can raise the monitor up to 110 millimeters in order to get that perfect viewing angle and perspective. Unfortunately, there is no swivel capabilities on the stand. Since this is an IPS display, that's not really a big deal breaker. You can also remove the stand completely, and you have a 100 millimeter standard vase mount connection for mounting on a wall or on a desk stand. Oh, and by the way, if you want to use the monitor in a landscape or portrait mode, the stand also has about 90 degrees of a full rotation capabilities. Before we talk about the connectivity options, which is a key highlight of this display, we're going to just briefly mention some of the capabilities of this monitor. Obviously, it's a native resolution 3840 by 2160 display, and it has a maximum refresh rate of about 60 Hz with a 5 millisecond response time. Additionally, if you have an AMD graphics card, you can utilize the built-in FreeSync technology, which will reduce vertical tearing and stuttering for a better overall gaming experience. Now, the key thing you have to understand with this monitor is that it's for multiple purposes. Now, if you want to use it specifically for gaming, it's definitely not going to give you the same performance and experience as a 144 Hz monitor with less than 1 millisecond response time. But that being said, if you have a powerful graphics card and gaming machine and you can utilize the full 4K resolution, gaming on this thing is definitely a pleasure. And since the color rendition and black levels are really great, it's definitely going to meet most people's gaming needs without any hitch. There's also a feature over here called black stabilization mode, which will basically even out darker areas so you can see your enemies in the dark, which definitely helps if you're playing games like the new Doom. Furthermore, the monitor has a couple of different gaming presets built in, so you can basically optimize the display for a specific type of game genres. I personally didn't find any big difference between the different presets, but there is that feature if you want to use it. Coming back to the whole input situation, now in terms of raw inputs, you have a decent amount of variety. As you can see at the back, we have a full DisplayPort 1.2 connectivity, as well as a pair of HDMI 2.0 connections. So all three of those connections are good for the full 4K resolution at 60 Hz refresh rate. There's also a 3.5 millimeter audio output for either headphones or external speakers. Of course, you have two USB Type-A connectors for data transferring or connecting your peripherals. And one of these ports actually is enabled with quick charging capabilities. So if you have a device that has that enabled, you can actually utilize that feature. And of course, last but not least, we have that USB Type-C connector, which of course has multiple different functions for outputting video via its DisplayPort 1.2 interface. It also serves as a data transferring interface up to USB 3 speeds, as well as power up or charge devices that have USB Type-C enabled. Now, during my testing phase, I was using the 2015 version of the MacBook, which is not the best thing to connect to this monitor. Firstly, when you use its USB Type-C connection, your data transfer speed gets reduced to USB 2.0 speeds, and you only get 30 Hz refresh rate at that full 4K resolution. Thankfully, if you do have the 2016 version of the MacBook, you will get 60 Hz refresh rate and faster data transferring speeds. Now, in terms of using the display as a USB 3.0 hub, I was kind of upset to find that the data transferring speed was just around 350 megabits per second, whereas a proper USB 3.0 speed should be around 600 megabits per second. So that definitely could be upsetting for some people that want to use this as a USB 3.0 external hub, especially if you're going to use this with a Type-C enabled laptop. Now, beyond those factors, there are still a couple of different pluses about this monitor, especially if you're a big multitasker. I would highly recommend using LG's Split Screen 2.0 software that basically allows you to split up the screen in a couple of different regions, up to 14 different configurations, and it really works really nicely. I think it's even better than the window snapping capabilities you have built into Windows 10. Additionally, if you don't want to mess around with the single clickable joystick control that's on the bottom of the monitor, you also have the option to use your mouse to control all the aspects of your monitor menu controls. Now, for content creators out there, there's definitely some good things about this monitor. Firstly, the color accuracy is actually fairly decent. Based on our calibration methodology, we got up to 97.6% of the sRGB color spectrum and a relatively low delta E score of about 1.7. And in terms of light distribution and maximum brightness, the distribution of light is fairly even, relatively low hotspots in all regions of the monitor, which is definitely nice to see that consistency. And in terms of maximum brightness, we got a reading about 230 nits in terms of its maximum luminosity. But by all means, to kind of sum up everything, this is definitely a multi-purpose solution. It has definitely a lot of handy features for both gamers and media content creators. And for me personally, it's an excellent fit, meets pretty much all of my criteria. Of course, you're not going to find the performance of a proper dedicated gaming monitor and the color accuracy of a proper reference grade panel designed for color timing, media editing, or creation. But generally speaking, because it has USB Type-C connection, you are definitely paying a little bit for that. But overall, if you want a future-proof solution that's going to give you plenty of different options for right now and later on down the road, definitely check out the LG 27UD88W. But really, on that, guys, that's really it. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Check out the links for more details about everything we talked about. And thanks again for watching. Thanks for your support. We'll see you later. Take care.